Hello, everybody, and welcome to Surviving the Badge. Tonight we have an extremely special show. It's almost Christmas time, and we wanted to do a show involving our wives because we all know that they truly are what helped us survive the badge. So we have our wives here. I introduce my wife, Lynn, who is hiding. We have Camille's wife, Jody. We have John's wife, Ruth. And of course, we have Camille and John, and Ronnie.
And Cooper's down here.
And Cooper's under the table somewhere because he's surviving the badge also. So again, tonight we're just going to talk a little bit and get their insight and what they went through being here during hurricanes all by themselves with the kids, holidays, overnights when we worked midnight shifts, and they had to take care of everything. They had to take care of doctor's appointments and hospital runs if it wasn't a life or death emergency, staying home during the hurricanes. I got to tell you, I stayed home the last hurricane we had here, and I was actually home because I was retired, and it scared the hell out of me being here and worrying about the kids and was something going to happen to the kids. I can't imagine what they went through here all by themselves. So anyway, we're going to get into all that. It's going to be light, fun. We're going to be drinking, and we're going to be having a good time. We all have our Christmas stuff on. Everybody show their Christmas attire. Yeah, absolutely. So, Christmas 2021. Yay! Absolutely.
Salute.
All right, salute. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't have nothing yet because we don't have the beer moment.
And this episode is sponsored by Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Speaking of beer moments,
Speaking of beer moments, though,
John's going to pour them out here for us.
what is this, John?
this is from Blue Springs Brewing Company. It's a restaurant and brewery on 1792 in Orange City. And this is the vanilla cream ale.
Yep.
Well, that looks beautiful. Look how clear that
White
is.
water
White
vanilla
water,
cream
vanilla
ale.
cream
Nice.
It looks like cream soda.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wait till you taste it. It's
It
amazing.
looks amazing.
So the couples are
That's
going
a
to
lot
share
more
them.
than you thought.
Yeah,
It is a lot more than I thought, yeah.
that's what she said.
So
Good deal. Yeah, until she saw it.
Well,
Alrighty then.
Right.
So
Ladies first, wives show, right?
okay.
good, thank you.
Yeah, she tried a little last night when we were at the restaurant.
Not a beer drinker at all.
Ooh, that's good.
We got to let the ladies read it first, too.
That's really good.
No, we'll just go around the table and
It's
do it.
already, it's like crisp
Yeah.
and clear. I like it.
Can I try it maybe?
Yeah.
I don't think Jody's going to give up the beer.
It's like so good. It's yummy.
It's good.
Ooh, it smells good.
Come on, Camille.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Lynn tried it last night, and she's not a beer drinker at all. And she said, yeah, it's pretty good. She said it's like almost like a dessert beer.
I guess
it's
I'm not getting
like
any more of
sweet,
that
you know?
Wow, that is you mentioned cream soda. That
Well,
is
their
very.
blurb on their menu says, light, creamy, easy drinking beer with loads of vanilla. Think of cream soda. Think if cream soda was a beer.
Yeah,
And-
Absolutely.
And this is about as close to a cream soda
Yeah.
as a beer as I can get.
and it's not like a cider, so
No.
it tastes like a good.
Tastes
sweet,
like a beer?
Yeah,
A
it's
sweet
got a-
beer.
It's
I
got
like
the
it.
All
sharpness.
right, go ahead with your...
I give this a 9. It's a really good beer.
yeah.
9. Probably 9.
8.5.
You had it last night.
5.
Because she
doesn't
doesn't
drink
drink
beer.
Because I don't drink beer.
And I'm going to also give it a 9. So that's an overall rating of like an 8.5.
Right.
Well,
Oh, 9.
she brought it down. It's like a 7.
But
job,
since
Lynn.
I did not taste it tonight, we should not include that in the vote. 'Cause
Okay, so we'll throw the lowest score out and one highest
There you
score
go,
out.
guys, right
So we
now.
got like an 8.75.
I mean, it's definitely a cream soda with a
8.66.
twist.
One of these myself.
Oh yeah, for
and there's
sure.
a lot of times that I'll
You would
split.
definitely drink like 7 of them by yourself.
No.
She we usually share. So
But this is really good.
Yeah, it is really, really good.
hence
And
I
they-
haven't had it back yet.
And they sell them. They sell them at Blue Springs Brewery. As you go in, obviously they sell them. You can get them by the glass or
That's not a
whatever.
pizzeria, right?
Yeah, it's Riverwalk Pizzeria and Blue Springs Brewery all together in one.
Right.
And but they sell this can. As you walk in, there's a cooler on the left, and it's just a plain can. They brew them themselves. It's got a V on it for the vanilla, but they have all their other flavors too. And I think it was $5.99. I think it was
Yeah.
for a 16 ouncer, and I think this is more like a 24 ouncer. I don't
Yeah.
think it's 16.
No, it was good.
No, you guys had a big glass. For
yeah.
the three of you.
All right, so next we have, unfortunately, we're going to go over the stats for the law enforcement officers that we've lost this year.
So yeah, as of yesterday, we have lost 400, just over 450 officers in the line of duty. That's 27% of an increase from last year. A lot of it has to do with an increase. Obviously, COVID had a big, significant number of that. And I'm hoping that next year, as it starts going down, it'll lower. But gunshots and auto related is still on the rise. I'm not sure what the number is going to be. Obviously, this is our last show of the year, but unfortunately, it's going to continue to rise until the next year. So, 450, just over, and a 27% increase.
What a shame. So to all those that we've lost, let's give a little salute to all of them and their families.
Yeah.
Salute.
Salute.
God bless. All right, what do we have?
So I'm going to do this a little out of order. We want to talk about, we want to get some input from the WAGs on different things such as holidays and things like that, night shift and call outs. But I have a certain order here, but I'm going to mix it up and I'm going to start with holidays. There are certain givens in law enforcement. One of those givens is you're going, especially if you're on patrol, you're going to be working holidays. You're going to be working a Thanksgiving, a Christmas, an Easter. I mean, those are the biggies.
4th of July.
4th of July. Yeah.
That's a
New
Not-
Year's.
Yeah, New Year's.
Year's.
Yeah, not so,
Anniversaries.
And isn't it so much? Isn't Christmas and New Year's always on the same day, right?
Yes,
Yes.
they're a week
Yeah,
apart.
exactly.
So
7
in the
days.
agency I worked for with you, we had set shifts.
So if you
before-
work
So if you work
Christmas-
Christmas, you were off New Year's.
No, if you worked Christmas, you worked New.
I mean, you work, yes,
yeah,
you work New
both
Year's.
because
yes.
now and then they switched to rotating shifts. But yeah, so we always had to shift. You know, like we would have
Thanksgiving, you worked every Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the shift I
Our
was on-
shift worked probably 7 Thanksgivings in a row because
Right.
of leap year.
Right.
It screwed us all up. I mean, it was a freaking mess. It was an absolute mess.
But honestly, because of our shifts, you know, we work 2 on, 2 off, 3 on, 2 off. So you work Thursday, but then you had off Friday. And I actually preferred, because if I was going to have to work either Thursday or the weekend, I'd rather work the holiday, working day shift, and then have the whole weekend off.
right. Yeah, especially if it's Thanksgiving.
Right, for Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
because, you know.
Yeah, as we got a little more senior, you know, you got to day shift, and at least if you had to work Christmas, you'd be home that evening, and you know, and then you could do it like that evening, or you could do it the day after. I mean, a couple of times we did Christmas Eve, Christmas,
Right.
because I had to be at work the next morning.
Well,
at,
that's what I was gonna.
5:30.
Yeah, that's what we did. We always did. So, Jody, how many did we do of Christmas Eves? I mean, didn't we?
Years.
Yeah. So it was years of Christmas Eve was our Christmas.
So how did you, ladies, little input, how did you, when you knew we had to work Christmas, you knew we weren't going to be here no matter what shift, I mean, how did you plan it? I mean, what went through, like, the planning thing? Because normally a normal family would say, everybody wakes up Christmas morning, and now you have to kind of rearrange. I mean, how hard was that?
There was no planning it. You just kind of
Did
did
it?
it.
You did it.
You just gotta deal with it, I think.
Dealt with it. And actually, honestly, Christmas was easier if you were on midnights, because then you
Right.
could come home when you got home at 6:45, and you were usually waking the kids up. Then we could.
So
do,
you
we could
didn't
do-
go home. You didn't come home and sleep until 2.
Dude,
No, we would come home. We would do the presents.
I'm the
and
biggest
Santa.
kid in the world.
You get home and
The
say,
Santa?
"Hey,
you have no
we
clue.
can't have Christmas until 2."
No, and he's the one waking us all up
what I'm saying.
early. I mean, even now we're like,
No, my kids,
the sun's not up. No.
My kids are still getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but for the last 3 or 4 years, we've woken them up
Yeah.
at like 5.
Well, because they woke us up with clackers and pots and pans.
As mine
and
got
jumping
older,
on the
like
bed and-
late teenagers,
It's
I would
9 or
have to
10.
Yeah.
I'd have to go in there and wake them up. I'm like, hey guys, it's Christmas morning, and then they're like, "Arr!" And then of course they're a mile a minute. You know, they don't need coffee and everything else to get rolling. But
But back to the holidays. Christmas was easier if you were working midnights because then you could come home. We could do the Santa Claus gifts and and do presents, and you could go to bed for several hours. And then you also had it kind of made because we always went to my parents, and that was right where you worked. So you would be able to come by for dinner, and I know all you guys came by for dinner and desserts a lot too. You know, Mom always had open door for everybody. So
I think Jody had it a little more easy because when we first started dating, I think I just made detective, right? So I was home most of
the
those
holidays.
things,
unless you got a call out,
which I
Yeah.
did. I got
Yeah.
a shooting on Christmas night.
Yeah, I got a THI on New Year's Eve
Yes, I remember
at like
that.
12 o'clock on New Year's Eve. I was like,
Just right after
seriously?
midnight.
Well, you
THI
remember-
is a traffic homicide.
You remember we had that thing we were going to see, Phil Collins.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Orlando.
yeah.
That was a tornado. That was a hurricane.
that was a hurricane that hit
Yeah.
us from that.
And he
That was
had
the
to
04
go
hurricanes,
to that,
yeah.
and this was months planned.
Yeah.
Months.
So,
I mean, we lucked out because John, thank you to whoever, covered for his shift, but a lot of times he was able to get the younger guys to cover him that didn't have kids, so.
Which that's a tip to all you young officers. If you don't have kids, no, I'm serious. If you don't have kids when you're starting out, offer to work Christmas, at least part of the Christmas, so those with kids will be able to spend time with their family. Because when you get older and want to spend time with your family, they'll be willing to help you out.
yeah, that's some good karma right there.
Yeah.
And what was great is when I was younger, I would do that. I mean, I had kids at 20 years old, so I mean, who am I kidding? I had
Right.
kids, but I mean, I would like pay back if they would do that for me. Then I would work a July 4th or a New Year's for them.
Yeah.
You know, because they wanted to go out and party,
Right.
and I wasn't going to party. I'm in bed by 11 o'clock. You know, so
Right.
I would go out. I mean, on New Year's.
Lindsay,
But I mean,
4'8".
But, you know, I mean, it all comes.
Now he's in bed by 9. Just saying.
Yeah, 9:30. Come on, give me a
Retired
break.
like 10 o'clock.
Wow.
But you
It's
know,
out at 10:30.
but you're right. It is karma. I mean, if you do that for them, then when you want to go out on New Year's, 4th of July, St. Patty's Day, you know, something like that,
Yeah.
they'll come and
Yeah.
cover for you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and me and Pick did that a lot. You know, Picklesheimer would
God rest
cover
his
for
soul.
me, help me out. Tony
Tony did it.
was phenomenal. He did it for almost everybody. I mean, if he could.
The biggest thing is you got to find the people who are willing to do it as soon as possible, early enough.
Yeah.
Because everybody's plucking them.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God.
Well, I mean, it's good overtime for them. If
Yeah.
there's nothing that they're doing,
Right.
they're taking that overtime because it's not. I mean, if you think about it, Thanksgiving and Christmas is a cake shift.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not. I mean,
Right.
I remember one
They
Thanksgiving.
feed you like crazy.
Right, they feed you. Rarely any calls. I did get a call once where a husband beat his wife with a shovel on Thanksgiving because turkey wasn't done on time. It was down on 3rd Street.
Imagine that.
But other than that, it's a cake shift.
Well, and what I did later on, as we got some guys that kind of lived kind of close to where we worked, is I would let them come in, do the briefing and all at 6, grab all their stuff, and then go to the house.
Right.
And I said, keep your radio on, be ready. You know, and those of us that didn't live close enough to do that, were on the road and we were ready to go. And there was always 3 or 4 of us, and then the other 1 or 2, like Joe and that one guy, I won't even mention his name. He would go home and I would let them do that, and then they would spend time with their family, you know, and then at about 8, 9 o'clock they'd come back.
Right.
You know, I mean, it was only fair. I mean, they had little itty bitty ones, you know. I mean, it was only fair, and they appreciated it. What they do when they come back, you know, they work twice as hard. I mean,
Right.
because they got to be able to spend time with their family, so it was
absolutely.
nice.
Yeah, and I had one of our senior officers, by upper level admin, as he was going home on Christmas Eve, he said, you know, where I used to work, the admin used to come in and work for like 6 or 7 hours and let the officers go home.
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
I said, yeah, that's nice. So I won't see you till after Christmas, right? He's like, well, yeah. I'm like, seriously? Like, it's
That's
actually
an
a good
amazing
idea.
idea.
It's a
Never
good
thought about
idea.
Yeah.
And you could probably implement it if you wanted to.
So those of you supervisors that are watching this, if you got a chance to let your guys, if they're within a reasonable range, let your guys and gals go back to the house that have children and spend an hour or 2 or 3 with their family and then come back as long as they're available. Try to work that out with them. You can't even imagine what that will do for them. Think back when you were in that situation and somebody would have done that for you.
That will really
boosts
bank
morale.
some goodwill right there.
It will.
Now, I did appreciate when John worked Thanksgiving, though, because I had the entire day to make dinner. It was like slow-mo it. So I was
She
like,
did too. Yeah, she did
So you
too.
would have, you would have
"Take your
Thanksgiving at
time."
night.
Yeah, we would just have it in the evening
Yeah.
when we
Yeah.
got home at 6:30 or whatever. We would
Right.
just usually I went to her mom and dad's, so I would just
That's
come
right
there
there.
and
Yeah.
at like 15 minutes before my shift got off, 5:45, and then as soon as the clock tolled 6, I'd be in there changing clothes and getting out of that crappy uniform and be ready to
Throwing
eat,
keepers. And
Oh,
Throwing
man,
keepers.
all the way down the hallway. Code Brown.
Code Brown.
Fries are done.
Fries are done.
So a little bit about, so let me just throw this out there. I don't see the schedule there, but
Well, we were going to talk about night shift, call outs, life activities, but whatever you
Well,
want.
actually, I want to talk on, because we're talking, focusing mostly on Christmas and Thanksgiving. But now that I'm retired, Ruth is not complaining, but she's like,
Get a job, you bum.
no.
yeah, I would be.
No, she's like,
He's actually becoming very handy.
but she said, like, we don't have anything to do on Memorial Day, on Labor Day. We don't have any family traditions to do that because
Right.
we
Works.
always had to work that.
Right.
Yeah.
Certain people are like, oh yeah, we always go over this place, this guy's house for, this picnic, or we go. So now it's like,
Of course.
we're like kind of, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, like we didn't
She's got a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
It's like, oh. Yeah, I don't know what to do.
have job, cleaning, whatever.
Just get ready.
Ronnie, which direction do you want to go to?
So let me ask y'all this, because like I mentioned in the prelude to the show as we were getting started, and I'm going to go to each one of you and ask you. Hurricane's coming. You know it's coming. It's a Cat 4, Cat 5. We're in Florida, by the way, if you can't tell while the hurricane talk. And you know that your husband or your wife, whatever, if for those listeners that have wives instead of husbands, you know they're going to be called in. You know they can't come home. They're going to be at the station, and you're there by yourself. What are the thoughts in your head when that's coming?
Well, for starters, I was not ever there by myself because I had children.
That's what I mean, you and the kids.
Okay, well, you said by yourself, so I didn't.
Well,
Okay.
as
Not
the-
literally.
Without
as the
Camille.
adult.
So if it was stronger than if it was a category 2, I loaded the minivan up and drove to Tennessee and stayed with my cousin. Or we loaded the minivan up and went up and just like if we decided not to go, but then we were like, okay, we're gonna go. When that one turned, I can't remember when it was.
Floyd or something.
Yeah. Well, we had to go way up to what was it called?
I don't know. Oh, yeah, I was there on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, but most of the time,
Georgia.
you would either go with other
Yeah.
people in the family, either your dad's or your grandmother's,
Yeah.
or you would go out of state if it was a big one, yeah.
Yeah. I was
But you had to take care of that all by yourself.
Well, and also dealing with all this stuff. Some people have exes. We had exes that we had to deal
Oh,
with.
yeah.
So, that also throws another monkey wrench into it. But I didn't hang out when there were bad storms coming.
Yeah.
I took off. I'm like vacation. Go stay in a hotel with a pool for a couple days.
And Jody had a little, I think maybe a little more difficult after the storm because a lot of times, because when I worked for the state, I went to Mississippi for 3 weeks one time for Katrina. And she's by herself raising kids with health issues, and the storm's already gone. Didn't even hit Florida. and
Yeah.
we're out of state. So she rock star.
But I mean,
But you
we
had some
also
friends and family and-
were married to. I was also married to someone I knew was doing a good job and something good, and something that I would hope there would be people to come and help us
Right.
if we had that situation.
Yeah, so it's not like he just had it up and hauled ass. It's.
So I'm going to work. I'm getting over
Yeah,
that.
he's doing something good. So how about you, Ruth?
Well, so I had a different situation because I was required to go to work also. So
She's a nurse.
I'm
Works
a
in a
nurse,
nursing home.
So, and I work in a nursing home, and we're required to be in. So, he can't take the children. So I have to lug the sleeping bags and comforters and air mattresses and snacks and all that, and take it to work and try to function at work while watching the kids. So,
And
you know,
that first hurricane we
and,
had down here was so wonderful, I think.
yeah, I was so pissed.
you
I was sleeping on the floor. No, it was during
I think it was
Floyd.
Floyd,
It
the
was
first one that
Floyd.
I worked.
And I'm in this glass room, number one, with I think Colleen was a toddler, or yeah, she was a toddler, and the other two were, older than that. But I'm sleeping on the floor with 3 kids, and he's at the Hilton.
We stayed at the Hilton.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. With power and air conditioning.
power.
She's like, so how bad was it last night? I said, well, I stayed at the Hilton.
And then they put you up at the Marriott once.
No, it was the Marriott out there off of International.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never stayed at the Hilton. I stayed
Must
at the
be
Marriott.
nice. When I went out to Mississippi, we slept in our cars
Well,
for a week
I think you
before
were
we had
night
a
shift
hotel.
when I was day shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So night shift stayed at the station and had to work, while day shift went and slept at night, but had to report at 5
Yeah,
o'clock.
but then I went back
Well,
in the
flip-flopped.
morning and got to go out to the Marriott. But that was only 1 year. The rest of the
Right.
year, I
That was
slept.
the 04 hurricane.
Yeah, I
had
slept in a
3.
freaking jail cell that was a converted jail cell because it was so cool and cold in there. And I threw an air mattress down, closed the door, and I mean, I kind of crashed and the next thing I knew, it was like 6 hours later. I'm like, back was killing me, and this air mattress went flat, so I'm laying on the concrete. Oh my God, it was terrible.
I think the worst hurricane for us was the most recent. I think it was Michael, one of
Irma?
those.
Matthew.
It was John was still working.
Yeah.
And
Matthew.
it was the year that Harvey came through because the girls had the
Right.
puppies.
Matthew.
Right.
It was Matthew, and John was just because now I switched jobs and my company, I travel for work now, and my company doesn't want me on the road, so they had me home. Totally.
Well, they sent someone else to
different-
travel.
Yeah,
It was great.
totally changing direction. So I'm home with the girls and these 2 puppies, and we have tornado warnings like the whole night. John had to work, but he's freaking me out because he's trying to get the generator.
generator
He
the
got a
night before,
generator, and
remember?
he's trying to set it up. He made me more anxious being home for a little bit than he was. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like,
Because
he was
luckily,
freaking me
so
out.
it was a blessing that we were at work.
Sometimes, yes.
Probably.
Well, we were
Because she didn't have to hear me.
And if you want to go there, that's a whole nother topic.
I mean, we lucked out where we lived. We hardly ever lost power,
Right. Yep.
let alone,
Yeah, we didn't either here. Yeah.
04 was the only time we
Yeah.
lost power because we stayed at my parents.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't that bad.
No.
There
We don't
were
usually
several
lose power
tornado
that much.
warnings that night. 'Cause I remember,
Oh, yeah.
you and the girls were hiding in the closet in the bathtub, and
Colleen was a little freaked out about that because I finally was like, I can't sleep in this hallway anymore. I'm
All I
going to
have
bed.
to say is, it doesn't really matter where you go
No. Oh, no.
because it's gonna hit your house. It's gonna hit your house.
I heard about Kentucky, I guess, the
Oh,
families that
yeah.
were devastated
Well,
up there.
our house got
from the
hit
tornado.
with
Oh,
a
yeah.
tornado with me in it.
That's true.
So it does
quite the
not
warrior.
matter where you go.
No, you're
So
right.
how about you? I mean, I know when the 04 hurricanes hit, you had a 6-year-old and you had a 4-year-old. And during one of them, I know he split his chin up, or she.
That was Tyler. That was
Yeah, he split his chin open
in the 04,
bathtub.
and that
shout
was
out to you, Tyler. I know you're watching.
that was Hurricane Francis. He was throwing a temper tantrum because he had to have a bath, and we had this battery pack. We were able to watch one movie before we, that was all we had. Tyler had to take a bath real quick, and he's bashed his chin, and it was wide open. And thankfully the eye was coming because we were already in a
hurricane?
lockdown. Yeah, and it was the only night I'm like, please let me get pulled over. Please.
Please
Trying
So
to get a hold of him.
Right.
At the
she
station.
finally did.
And he's got to come over the bridge, and they're not allowed to travel the bridges over 45 miles, and it was right in the middle of the eye.
Oh my gosh.
Danielle's
right.
like puking in the car, and they've got the
Because
other guy-
Tyler's bleeding all over.
Right.
We've got the older two with us, so they're like, she had 4 of them at the house to deal with. Yeah.
And we pull in the hospital, we just throw Danielle out.
And I go, what's the matter? She puked all over. And I'm like, oh, man.
I look at him like, okay, it's all doctors and nurses. Get out of the car.
I come pulling up, and there's Danielle crying, and there's puke all over everywhere. Oh, my God, it was a mess.
Shout out to you, Danielle.
Yeah.
You're watching.
But, I mean, these are the things that, normal folks that work normal jobs, office jobs, or whatever, 8 to 5, normally you don't deal with this, and these families have to deal with this of the servicemen. I mean, think about if your loved one is stationed overseas for 6 months or a year and you're home all by yourself. God bless them, but I mean, our wives and our families had to deal with that. And the kids had to go with us not making birthday parties, baseball games, all this kind of stuff. And these women, I'm telling you, and all the women and the men of
Husbands
of female officers, they're rock stars, man. You guys are what kept the families going and kept us, afloat. And I just
I have
So-
to say,
so-
if
so-
I worked outside of
Whatever
the house
gender you choose to be.
full time, I don't think we would have worked out
Yeah.
because he worked such off hours,
Yeah.
whenever, that.
Yeah, he was off a lot.
I'm always off.
And so when I would try to work in the hospital at PRN, never failing, he gets called out. Well, then I have to say I can't come in. So at that point, a person, after it happened so many times, forget it. It's not worth it.
You mentioned
it's kinda
baseball
like
games.
You put your life on hold. So anyway,
You mentioned baseball games. So while I was a detective, I'm like, oh, you know what? I can coach Cameron's baseball team. It's a small town. There's not guaranteed almost every single game. Hey, I got a call out. Can you pack the gear? Luckily, I had a decent coach, but I always had the equipment, so Jody's always packing the gear.
Aw.
And
I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to do this. I forgot.
Yeah.
It slipped my mind.
That's why I'm glad I was a sergeant and on the road because I didn't get called out, except for when I was on call for traffic homicides, which that lasted a few years too. But thank God we didn't have a ton of those while the kids were growing up. The younger ones were
That's
growing
what
up.
Cameron's gonna remember too. His mom was always there.
well, good. I hope so. So that's good.
Probably why, like all professional athletes, thanks, Mom.
Well, John, you were a detective. I mean, how did you have?
I think we did.
What's wrong? The alcohol kicking in?
I think we did it different than you did. Like, we had on-call weeks. Did you have it the same way? Okay.
Yeah.
But, I basically said, I can't make any plans if I'm on call.
Right.
And in fact, the
Our
one
lives were
time,
very strict to that.
Yep.
and then the one time, I made arrangements. I was away at class for the week, but I started going on call that Saturday, or that Friday night. But I had made arrangements, someone was gonna cover my weekend, because I told them a long time before, I said, my brother's coming down, we're going to the UF football game, I cannot work that weekend, have someone else cover on call for me that week. They're like, nope, that's the way his schedule is. I said, okay, well, will someone cover for me? Oh yeah, we'll cover the weekend, plus you're the secondary, so you're not gonna get called in. So as I'm sitting at the swamp with my brother and my daughter, I get a phone call from the
swamp?
deputy chief.
That's a
Gators.
football
Skater,
stadium.
skater.
Gators.
You know,
Okay.
Detective John, I'm here at a murder-suicide,
Oh, gee.
and I'm wondering where you are.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, I'm in Gainesville, at a football game, because I told everyone, and they said they would cover for me. Well, one of the detectives said that he wasn't feeling well, and the other detective said it wasn't their problem. But your name is on the list, and you should be. I'm expecting you to be here. I said,
That's
well,
a dick move.
I said, well, I can get there from Gainesville as soon as I can. He said, no, I think I'll just see you in my office Monday morning.
Okay, see you then.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. And the detective sergeant called me before Monday morning, and I gave him quite a rash of hell over the fact that, no, all three detectives said they would cover me just for the weekend, but I'd have to work Monday through Friday on call. And I was like, okay, but you guys got my back. Called them all Friday and said, do you have my back? Yes, we'll cover for you. You don't have to worry about it. Go to Gainesville, have fun. And it was just Saturday. I just needed that day. Nope. They all threw me under the bus, and I went off on the sergeant, and I never had to meet with the deputy chief.
Imagine that.
Because the sergeant was like, I didn't understand. I didn't know that. I wasn't aware. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Well, yeah, because they're not going to tell the whole thing.
I actually I did it all on purpose so that Jody would appreciate the game of baseball better. So she
It
did.
didn't work out.
It didn't. It didn't work. It didn't work.
I have to say, throughout our entire marriage, the biggest thing we have ever argued about is your job.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Because you have always been so committed to your job. And
John too. I had to tell him though at some point, because he was doing a lot of overtime. There was a lot of need and a lot of overtime, and I thought it's not worth it. He comes home exhausted. The kids are young, and this is and I get it. When you're young, you have all these crazy shifts. You do the rotation, the night shift, the day shift. But when you have kids, that's when they need their parents, when they're young and stuff like that. When they're teenagers, they need their parents too.
yeah, but the good thing is, even though I wasn't there as much as I could have been because I was working on,
Yeah.
I was still able to ruin them.
Yeah, you were.
Because all my kids are ruined. How about you? Your
They
kids
are
ruined?
all ruined.
Brent.
Ruined.
All our kids are ruined.
They are.
I don't know about y'all's
But-
kid. My kids aren't. So
our
you guys suck.
kids are great.
You guys suck.
Oh, and you just don't have the right thing, the
Right.
right stuff.
So while we're going on, just so everybody remember, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate it very much.
Share with your friends.
Share it with all of your friends.
Yeah.
And we are available, obviously, on YouTube. We are available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Anchor.
No, I got a cool one.
What's that new
Instagram.
one? Audacity, Instagram,
Audacity.
Facebook.
Audacity.
I've never heard
But you
that
can listen to the podcast on one of those venues. And we really appreciate all the support. We really do. Thank you very much.
And is the new merch
So,
up?
there is new merch up, TeePublic, and it'll be on, the link will be on all of our Instagram page, Facebook page, and all that. So.
Which I really do like the new.
Yeah, I do
logo.
The new
And
logo.
by the way-
we have a new logo.
Here, hold on, let me get it right. Here is the new logo. Okay, guys, hold on. I will put it up so that you can see it a little bit better
It
here.
is nice. It is nice. I want a T-shirt actually.
We're going to shout out to Trey.
Absolutely. Let me bring it up a little bit
T-shirt.
bigger so you
Yeah.
can see it a little better.
Oh, I'll still wear the other one too. I don't care.
There is the new logo.
Mug.
And I am really liking it a lot. I think it's freaking awesome. I think it looks good. Trey, we can't thank you enough for everything you did to help that
Round of applause.
happen. Thank you very much. That was absolutely awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank
Three
you.
finger golf clap.
All right. So, how did you guys handle night shift? Because I remember, I know you.
Now?
Hold on a second. Hold on. I know you would come home, work a night shift, and you had a daycare in your house. I have no idea how you slept
But you know what?
during a daycare.
The funny thing was,
She was the master.
if he did not hear the kids, he couldn't sleep.
Yeah. That background
Yeah,
noise
like-
and stuff.
like
As
white
long as they
noise.
didn't like smash into the wall, or something like that.
Because
But
they
just
didn't
that.
have those sound machines then, did they?
No.
The white noise.
No, I always slip at the TV anyway. But
Okay.
but
They had TVs back then?
Hey!
So anyway,
Yeah!
that was only directed at him.
See,
Older.
him being an asshole just backfired. I love it. That's karma. You can go ahead and hit him. Go ahead.
She did. She got him.
Oh, you're gonna kick his ass later anyway. we know.
If I didn't hear that background noise, because I would come out and go, everything good? And she'd go, yeah, they're napping. And I'm like, oh, okay, just checking. And I'd go back in there and crash,
Well, I can't sleep when they're sleeping. Wake them up.
She's like, why are you bothering me?
But yeah, it was tough. I mean, with the daycare, because as soon as I would just starting to go in there and go to sleep, bing bong, everybody dropping off the kids,
Oh,
ringing the
God.
doorbell. But she was awesome about it, man. Yeah, ask her now if she wishes I was on midnight shift like now. Go ahead.
Yes. I do
End day
miss
End day
I
shift.
do miss
No, 'cause
midnight shift.
She works days.
Yeah, and I work days now. And sometimes I miss every other weekend, I will be honest. I do miss every other
A
weekend.
little bit of self-time.
Yes, because I got my stuff done.
That must be why when I say, hey, I'm taking the boat out and we're going fishing on Saturday
She's
or
like,
Sunday,
"Country."
and she's like, see ya!
Well,
But that's also me. I mean, I didn't get married till I was 30, so I always had my independent time.
And it's good for me too, because if I do want to go do something, it's never a problem. There's never any, it's just, yeah, go ahead. Because we're together most of the week. We do things or whatever, and then on the other weekend days, we do whatever. But like if I want to go fishing, if I want to go golfing, if I want to, she's like, yeah, whatever.
See, but we have the flip side because Ruth now travels for work, so she's gone Monday through Friday. So, she misses the hell out of me.
I think she misses the hell out of being home.
And I miss the hell out of her.
Oh, thanks.
I don't know about you.
Well, let's go back
well,
to
let's ask Ruth.
I'm sure that's what it is.
Yeah. Not.
No, the point is we love our time together
it's so
because
short.
we only have a little bit of time together. So
Yes.
we don't, we don't have all those little annoying like, God damn it, he left the toilet seat up again. Oh, Jesus Christ, why can't he, put the toothpaste cap on? And, stupid little things
know,
like
the
that.
fun-
Not either, and we're together all the time.
The
Yeah.
different, like, when he was working, he would come home and I was working like a regular, but I worked Monday through Friday, so we always had the weekends off. And he would need to come home after work and decompress. And I didn't quite get, he's like, I just want to chill. I just want to sit in my chair with my feet up, watch TV. Whoa.
They say
Drink
men-
a beer.
Men
Drink a
have
beer.
to do 30
And-
minutes of that.
Yeah.
Just that.
And-
for 30 minutes.
Oh, I
You know-
have to have 15 minutes when I come home.
So when I started traveling and we didn't see each other, he had the whole week to decompress. And it was great. Like we actually, the time we had together, we were enjoying it. We talk on the phone, like we talk every day for, sometimes over an hour.
Almost like dating.
Yes, it's like fun.
Long distance dating, now we get to see each other. every
Phone sex.
No.
Oh.
No,
Jody, why did you have to go there?
no.
Well, I was thinking it too. So
Phone sex.
I was kind of thinking it too. I'm just saying.
I'm sorry, FaceTime sex.
Oh, even worse. Go back to midnight shift. Go
So,
to the
midnight
serious
shift.
side of midnight shift.
Yes.
you mentioned dating. I was working day shift when Jody and I met, and we would go out on a date, and the dates would go until 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And what time you got to be, in briefing at 5:45. So yeah, I did not get much sleep.
Oh
I
gosh.
had to be to work
You're
at
like,
6:45.
right? Neither one of us got much sleep, but it was,
Yeah.
you're like
Who needs sleep?
sleep
No,
schmeat.
night shift was the worst on his days off though, because when night shift he was always tired. So then it was like on the weekend he slept half the day, and it's like, well, I thought this is your weekend off,
Yeah.
and it's like the
Well,
whole
and that
thing.
is one of the things. When you work night shift, your first day off is actually lost.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't count.
You
It's
got
like
about
camping.
6 or 8 hours max
Right.
that you're actually lucid, and
Yeah.
the rest of it you're either sleeping or in a coma.
Right.
It's tough. It's tough.
But then you have to go to sleep early when you go back to work, so it's like, I'm going to bed,
Not on
or
day
you gotta
shift,
stay-
not
or-
on nights.
yeah, or you got to stay up all night.
Right.
It's like,
But
oh.
the blessing was, like you were saying before about doctor's appointments and things like that, because our kids were involved in Girl Scouts and, youth group and, CCD and all that kind of stuff. So I would have to do that in the evening because he was working. So all the doctor's appointments, I made it for John's day off.
Wow. I didn't learn that trick.
Hopefully afternoon, after 12 noon.
I had the amazing wife that did all of that. I didn't have to do any of it.
Damn
Thank
it,
you,
Rick, You should
baby.
have told me
Sorry,
that trick.
Larry.
Maybe she just understood that you weren't able to handle it.
Whatever, I didn't have to do it. It doesn't matter the reason I didn't have to do it.
Then if we ever relive, I'll tell you the truth.
I got it now.
But
boy.
then again, when I worked night shift, I couldn't go home and go to sleep.
Oh, I did.
I'm not one of those people who was
Oh,
like,
on night shift? Oh,
15 minutes, dude.
I was asleep before I got home.
But I will say
Absolutely.
from a
most of
wife's
the time you're
point of
asleep
view,
at work.
How many times do you pull into the driveway? You're like,
How did I get
how did
here?
I get here?
Absolutely. How many red lights did I possibly go through in that police car to get home? Yeah, absolutely.
But I will say from a wife's point of view, the best sound in the morning was the Velcro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She always said that.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, but she knew I made it home
I
safe.
knew he
Yeah.
made it home, but
Yeah.
you knew those 4 straps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he would always change out here because it was
Right.
really but
It's
you could
very
hear it and
noisy,
then
yeah.
it was fine.
Yeah, we try to be
Because
quiet.
you try
There's
not
no
to
such
dwell
thing.
either
Right.
on the
Oh,
overnight
yeah.
crap or wake up.
And I'm glad that you said that because that was where I was going to segue, and we're getting kind of close to the end of time here, but I was going to segue into that. So I'm going to start with you since you kind of brought that up. Tell us just a little bit, and we'll go to each one of the wives. Tell us a little bit about, like, what your thoughts were about us being out there on the road, and you see these stories about officers,
concerns, the
getting
fears.
shot, hurt. What were your
You
concerns,
can't-
fears?
You could not dwell on it
Right?
because it would drive you crazy. And then I will go back to when we were living in the apartment. I don't even think we were married yet. And out there in Mims when
Living in
Gene
sin.
Gregory, and that's all they were reporting was Gregory, and we didn't even have cell phones then. And I remember having to call the station at like 3 a.m, like, and she's like, "No, he's fine." And you called
Not
me
that
like
Gregory.
10 minutes later,
Yeah.
but.
Same last name, different.
Yeah, but they weren't,
Yeah.
and they just were talking about that, but they just kept saying Gregory, never saying a first name. So,
You
and
were
I woke
freaking
up in the
out,
middle
yeah.
of the night going, "Holy crap!"
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, when we would come home, and it got easier as the years went on because we had cell phones. So
Cell
if you
phones
had,
make it a lot easier.
so if you
Yes.
had that thought of, man, I just had a really bad feeling, or I woke up with a bad dream, I had a bad feeling.
Yeah.
You couldn't call before we had cell phones.
Right.
Right.
You could
It was
call the
pagers.
station.
Hitting that
It was
pager.
pager.
Well, but before that, we didn't even have
Right,
pagers.
right.
But you don't
know?
want to be the pain in the ass wife calling the station either all the time,
Or calling
You
them
know?
on a cell phone all the time.
Right.
And I gotta give her credit. As we move forward and we got cell phones or whatever, I would call her around dinner time or a little after and say, "Hey, baby, how's that going?" Blah blah blah. Okay, have a good night. That was it. I never heard from her the rest of the entire
You were
12-hour
having a lot of
shift,
fun, weren't you?
unless
Party at the Gregory's.
Unless some-
toddler diaper changing.
unless something happened or unless something was wrong. I never had her bugging me all night long and worried about, oh crap, I missed a call from her. Is everything okay? I knew that if she called me after about 10 o'clock, there was some shit messed up at my house and I needed to call right freaking now because she never called me. And it just made it easier for me out there because I didn't have to worry about, am I missing her call? Did I call her back? Oh my God, I forgot to call her tonight. It just made it easier. I didn't have to worry about that. The home front was taken care of. It was so much easier. So what about you? How did you feel not knowing what was going on and just kind of sitting home and
Yeah. I guess for us, John's very first night, I think it was in uniform.
Yeah, first
He
day in
didn't
uniform.
end up getting home.
It wasn't night. I was
Well,
day
it was
shift.
day shift, and he didn't come home And then it was probably like evening, like 8, 9 o'clock, and I was starting to get worried. And
Before I
then
had a cell phone.
it was before cell phones. And then I think it was like 10-ish, he might have called and said, look, there's something happened, you know, everything's okay. Sorry I haven't called you, but I'm okay. Or you might have even had dispatch call.
Yeah, I
But
think
so I'm like, okay. Then I wake up at like 1 a.m. and he's still not home. And now I'm like freaking out, you know, because I'm like, oh my gosh, we don't have cell phones. I don't, you know. It's like, then I actually got up. Amanda was a teenager, so I didn't feel like I was leaving the little ones home alone. But I drove around my neighborhood just because my brain wouldn't stop. And then, you know, so we had the little talk in the morning, and it was like, look, they'll call you if anything happens. No news is good news.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they won't call you.
They'll come by.
someone will come by.
They'll
Yeah.
be at your house
Yeah.
knocking on the door.
But it was basically no news is good news,
Right.
so don't worry. If you
But
don't,
I do
know.
think, you know,
If
as
you
bad as-
saw my face
Yeah.
at your front door,
Oh.
because I was
I
his
would
supervisor
forget it.
for
You wouldn't
90% of his
you
career.
wouldn't need to even say anything.
Yeah,
I'd
it would.
be-
Oh yeah,
That's a given.
Yeah, yeah,
You would hear ugly cry.
yeah, oh yeah.
But I do think that actually helped for the rest of the career
Yeah.
because
Well, until
she had that baptism by fire.
until Ferguson.
Well,
That's a
that's
whole
a whole
different
different thing.
story, and that is
But because she knows
Ferguson,
that
Missouri changed everything.
I could, you know, be busy and not be able to make contact with her, it doesn't mean that something is wrong. It just means I'm extremely busy and I can't make contact with her.
That was
And
good. Darren was.
on a lighter side of that, there would be nights we would have plans, but John Kelly on the way home would get into some sort of crap, and then he would be like, "I'm gonna be here for a couple hours," because John Kelly couldn't turn his damn head.
He wouldn't do this.
Yeah,
At 5 o'clock, these come on.
yeah. He couldn't just
Like-
drive to the station and turn his crap in and go home. It had to be some guy with a tail light out, and he had to pull him over. And
he had
28
lights and
suspensions or something.
80 pounds of dope in the car, and I'd be like, "Damn you, John Kelly!"
We learned him as the career went on, though. We learned him real quick.
Call.
And all
I'm
of,
gonna be late tonight.
all of you
Make
that
sure
are
he's in Volusia County already. before
all
John
of you that are cops out there, y'all know what I'm talking about. And when it gets to a certain point where your field of vision kind of goes to about here. Yeah. So
Well, you guys have been married
25 years.
25 years. You guys have been married
28 together 30.
28, together 30. We've been married
25 this year, yeah.
together.
Winners! Woo!
Yep. So, I mean, that's a long time period.
Yep.
Whether you're a police officer or a firefighter.
Yeah.
One.
That's
I mean,
because I
I-
found my nurse first.
I mean, that's America's second responders. I mean, they sleep all day.
Those drivers, they get to sleep in the bed at night. So
Stop.
So,
Just
I
because
mean,
your brother is a hose dragger.
and they wake, and hers too was, yeah. They wake up in the morning, they're like,
Let me go.
What's for breakfast?
Let me go polish a
Let
truck.
me go start
Let me have
the
breakfast,
bacon.
then I'll go home.
no, let me go to my
Yes.
real job
Yeah.
because this was just for the benefits.
Right.
Yeah.
anyway, it's hard work, marriages. There have been many times we've had to agree to disagree. Period.
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I disagree.
Well, I agree to
It was-
disagree.
It was just like, well, this is stupid.
Well, Jody, were
Well,
you
thank God
ever?
for Hallmark movies.
Were you guys ever married? Were you married when he was on midnight shift?
No, I was a detective.
Oh, so you're living a lie. You have nothing to do with this. How do you know about this?
Well,
What gives you the right to come in at night
You
shift?
would get called out in the middle of the night.
I would get called out as
but he also got to. He also had to travel out of state for weeks.
I know,
I know.
You know, but yeah.
I'm kidding.
Right.
You just weren't.
You know,
affected.
I think, and one of my favorite stories is on 3rd Street I had a suicide, 5 o'clock, probably a game or something, you know, that she had to take care of.
PM, AM,
PM.
PM.
And hey, I got a suicide, and it's funny. She says, "Okay, I'll see you in a half an hour," because you know, on TV shows.
Oh yeah, they're in wrapped.
Only a murder takes a whole hour.
Right, yeah, it's
A
only
suicide takes
suicide's
an hour.
about a half an hour.
Like, okay, well, I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
But I had people driving to the city to kill themselves when I was in CID.
You know, cop shows, and that says something else. Cop shows were absolutely the worst thing that ever happened to us.
Yes.
Because everyone all of a sudden had all of these expectations on,
Right.
oh, you can send that to the FBI crime lab, and you can send that chip of paint to the spectroanalyzer
Yeah.
and tell what car, what make, what model, what.
And it'll be back in 10 minutes.
Dude, it was a hit and run with $100 damage. We're not sending your shit to the FBI crime lab. Okay, get the hell out of here. I mean, but that's what everybody thought.
but he touched that. You can get DNA from that, right?
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
you can. Yeah.
Dust
and he
it.
stole
Dust it
my
for
freaking
prints.
radar detector worth $100.
It's a trespassing call, and you want me to, have them do
Worst thing that ever
DNA
happened to
analysis.
police work were police shows and all the crap that they
It's
showed.
called the CSI effect.
Yeah.
The CSI effect.
I don't
It
know.
really
When
is.
Now, let
we
me ask you
moved
this.
out here, we had people coming by our house asking like ridiculous stuff.
Oh, knocking on the door, bing bong. And I'd answer the door and they go, "You're a cop, right?" I'm like, and I look past them at the marked effing police car
Yeah.
sitting in the front yard and I'm like,
Obviously, you're not, because you had to ask that question.
but I would look at them and I go, "Yeah, but not here." And they go, "Well, can I just ask you a question?" I'm like, "Sure, go ahead." Well, my husband, he's a son of a bitch. And then I said, the number for Volusia County Sheriff's Office is 911. I said, I can't get involved. I can't help you
Nope.
unless he's standing here getting ready to shoot you or beat you with an axe or something. I can't help you.
I kind of
Sorry.
wish I used to ask people what their job was, and then at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 3 o'clock in the morning, go knock on their
Yeah,
door.
bing bong.
Hey, I have an investment
grocery?
question for you.
Yeah, can you help me with my computer? It's all locked up.
And, and we had this like bag lady. She was coming by.
Oh,
Bag lady.
oh yeah.
She
Oh,
came
yeah.
to complain about like the kids would go. There was a corner lot down there, wooded, and they'd go down there and smoke dope and everything. And she come die.
Not your kids.
No, well, my
Oh,
like,
hello. No.
like the neighborhood kids. So she come down and tattle on them, or somebody dropped their mail. I mean, it was just
my
crazy
God.
stuff.
Best thing that ever happened to me was when I got out of a marked car
Right.
and had an unmarked car,
Well, that's what I was about to say. It must be. It was nice for us to have a CID car. I mean, it was.
which is an unmarked car.
My
The
favorite
detective car.
story was with John, having somebody knock on the door. Was this little boy? He was scared, but I mean, the boy ran out of his shoes and everything. He jumped
It was
the fence.
what used to be referred to as a latchkey kid. He was probably 11 or 12. And he got home from school and locked himself in the house. And his parents, because I had the patrol car in the driveway, his parents had told him, if there's ever a problem, you can go to that house because there's a police officer who lives there. Which is a good
Yeah,
thing.
it was a
So
good
much
thing.
better.
But they meant a life or death problem.
Well, no,
But it was. He
what
did.
happened was, some guy said,
what happened
what
was,
happened was, he's in the house by himself, not expect anyone there, and some guy in a Cadillac shows up and is pounding on his door.
That freaked me out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he goes out the back door, hops the fence, and runs to my house, bangs on the door, and says, my dad told me I can never always come to you, and you're gonna be okay. I'll be okay. I'm like, okay, what happened? So he says, he tells me all that. I'm like, okay, what's going on? He said, some guy's banging on the front door. I'm like, all right, do you have your parents' information? So I call his dad, and he's like, yeah, my coworker was going to drop something off, and that's all it was. Okay, I'll walk him home. He locked himself out of the house.
So now John's babysitting a boy, and he's had all girls.
could you imagine that babysitting your kid? Oh my God, dude.
Man, that's worse than a 3 o'clock.
Can you go grab me a beer?
There you go. Hey, go get me a beer.
And then the kids didn't have shoes. Did you have to give him like clothes or shoes or something?
Yeah, he was just wearing shorts. I gave him a t-shirt. I gave him flip flops.
That's a 3 a.m. DCF call right there.
Hell yeah. 1-800-96-ABUSE.
Right?
We had that too. The little girl.
Oh. I
And
mean,
this was
a
like-
little girl.
This was like just 3 years ago.
what, 4 years old?
She was 3.
3 years old. Some people who were out walking find this 3-year-old.
No, it was the guy. He walked up to her car and he didn't want to put her in his house.
Walking the street, he goes, I didn't want to bring her to my house, man, because you never know what somebody's going to say. He goes, I know
So you
you're
brought her to my house? Thanks a lot.
He goes, I know you're a cop. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, oh my God.
911.
So I said, come in. So we brought her in. I called the sheriff's office. They come out, and she didn't give us her. She wouldn't talk, nothing. And I'm like,
she's scared to
my
death.
God.
She only had like a big polo shirt, no underwear or anything. But she had ended up unlocking her house. But we had a fun time messing with Tyler with it because we took pictures of her. And it was after one of our cruises that Tyler had a really good time on. And we're sending him pictures. Tyler, can you explain?
Yeah, we said some woman. We said some woman showed up and said this.
I got the glass in there with the picture.
I said some woman showed up and said this is your kid, and he goes, oh, get the hell out of here. Oh yeah,
That's almost as funny as when Frosty went missing.
yes, we've already told that story.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did last.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
So we kind of need to wrap this onion up. So one last comment from each of the wives on advice you would give wives or husbands that are doing what you have done or did for 20 plus years. With you and I was 25. What advice would you give a wife
Drink.
on dealing with a significant other that is on the job, working the midnights, working the hurricane? Just go ahead.
You just have to have an open mind, a lot of patience, and
Yeah.
know that you're going to be busy.
Busy, especially if you plan on
Yeah.
having kids.
Yep.
There's nothing you can do about it.
That's how you get kids.
What advice would you give to someone who's getting into this or going through a hard time because they just got into this business and they're a spouse staying home? At home with their,
Yeah. One of the things is to talk about it, realize that the feelings that you're feeling, for a spouse's perspective, for a spouse, that the things that you're feeling is not crazy. My husband used to think I was crazy until I realized that other wives are feeling the same
Yes.
way.
Because
That-
we would have conversations.
like, so you're not crazy, and communicate. Like, don't hold things inside. Don't let things bottle up and then boil over. Talk about it, communicate, and, because that's important. It's a tough job.
That's a good point.
You know,
Absolutely, it is.
It's a tough job on both people, and, you're in it together.
And if I can say,
Flexibility.
if I can
Flexibility,
say,
yes.
just like she has no idea what it's like to do our job. I have no idea what it's like to do her job and what she's going through.
Not
So-
my physical, not
not your
job,
your
like
job as
the
a
job
spouse.
at home.
spouse, yeah.
Your job as spouse.
My
Jody?
retired job.
My first thing is to be really in love with the person you're married to, because I think that helps. Be very compatible, be very thoughtful. Remember that no one's perfect, and that you have a family, and that you've made a commitment not only to your spouse but also to your children, and that in long term you're going to, there may be storms that come along, but in the long term it's about family, it's about being a unit, it's about appreciating getting to share the grandchildren and the children becoming adults, and that's what, to me, what's very important is family. And it takes work, and there's going to be times that you might have to seek your therapist at your church or talk to your pastor, excuse me, get a Christian therapist, whatever, to learn how to communicate. Because let's face it, to me, the biggest problem on the planet is communication or lack thereof. And especially when two people are together, especially if there's any competitiveness between the two of them, which I have to say, I think there's a lot of competition around the table. You know, even with us being laid back, there's still competition. Just
And
being
we've been
with
friends
someone
for a long time.
Yeah, and just being with a partner, you can get really annoyed with each other, and just learn to draw that line and realize the big picture is not who's going to be right or wrong, because remember, when one person's right, the other person has to be wrong, and that doesn't always make for.
All right, so final words
I am
on how how to deal with the wife, and the spouse.
I mean, not to hate on you guys, but I have the best wife ever. So I mean, just
Everyone's hating on us.
No, Jody really kicked ass. She stepped up. She really raised our kids amazingly in the times that I could not be there, and we had some tough times, but she stepped up and really did some amazing work with our family to fill in those gaps.
For sure. John?
All I would say is we've all grown in our marriage as we grew in our careers. You know, we're maturing in everything we do.
It's because we're all over 50 now.
I am newly over
Yes,
50.
Ruth just celebrated her 50th birthday, and that's why I was not on the last show.
She's the
But
baby.
We did give her props on the last show and said happy birthday.
But what I do have to say is, it's hard work, but it's worth it. But,
It can be done.
cops, you got to show a lot of patience with your spouses. Spouses, you got to show a lot of patience with your cops. But it's hard work, but if you get through it, it's worth it. And you're going to appreciate each other so much more when it's done. When you're done with the
Don't
career.
live in a one bedroom.
Lynn was absolutely friggin' amazing. I mean, I never had to worry about anything that was going on. She was taking care of everything. It was absolutely phenomenal. I could just focus on what I needed to focus on. She would take care of it. I would say one of the big drawbacks, in my opinion, is a spouse that wants to know every single thing that went on while you were at work. And here's an example. Well, tell me what happened. Well, no, it was just, well, tell me what happened. Tell me what happened. Tell me what happened. Because if you want to know,
that to you.
no, you did not
Okay.
at all.
I didn't do that at all.
I said
You
the
don't
worst
wanna know.
part would be
It was his other wife.
because if you came home and if you come home and you tell your spouse everything you're doing on the job, now they're going to sit home and go, oh my God, he arrested a murderer. Oh my God, he arrested a bank robber. Oh my God, he had to draw his gun on somebody. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my
That
God, oh my
video.
God. And it just builds that stress level here. I would come home, I would tell her the stupid shit that happened, the funny shit that happened, all that. But the stuff that scared the pants off of me or that made me just actually sick to my stomach, she never heard about it. She heard it from somebody else's wife because she'd be like, why didn't you tell me this? I heard it from somebody else. And I'm like, because you didn't need to know. You didn't need to worry about that. You didn't need to know that crap. So that's just my opinion. And I think that she handled it absolutely amazingly. And we absolutely never had a problem at all with me. And I worked so much overtime and off-duty details and night after night after night after night. She never complained. She never said, well, can't you just take tomorrow off? And I'd be like, no, we want to do X, Y, Z or whatever in 3 weeks. This is extra money. And she never complained. So
We already established that she liked you working extra.
absolutely.
That's why I started snickering. She's like, she never asked me not to work. Yeah, we know.
Just said, Brian, can you work an extra shift?
So, babe, thank you
You're welcome.
for being phenomenal while I was on the job. I really appreciate it. You were absolutely amazing.
Well, I wanna thank everybody. This is our first season of Surviving the Badge. We're coming back in January for season 2, and we are planning on making things even better for season 2. So make sure you subscribe and you like and you share and all that kind of stuff.
And
you-
also tell them what you like to
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
in
Send us an
the
email.
comments.
retiredcopsrule@gmail. Put us a little message in the YouTube. Subscribe, and just expect a even better show in season 2.
So we really appreciate all of you guys. Merry Christmas. Happy New
Christmas.
Year.
Merry Christmas.
Let's give a Merry Christmas to all of our
Christmas.
viewers and our families and everybody else. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Salute.
Yep.
So just remember, at Surviving the Badge, we still got your 6.